Happy day, students. This is Science, Grade 7, Chapter 3, Fiber to Fabric, Part 2 video. So, in the previous one video, we have studied about the wool and the silk introduction and the characteristics of wool, and also we studied about the process of fibers into wool. So, in this part 2 video, we will study in detail about the each steps. So before going into, we will see some Indian breeds of sheep. So name of the breed, Lohi. Quality of wool, good quality of wool. State where it is found, it's Rajasthan, Punjab. Rampur Bushehr. Quality of wool, what we get is brown fleece. State, it belongs to is Uttar Pradesh, Himachal Pradesh. Marwari will get coarse wool. State where found it's Gujarat. So next step we will see the process of obtaining the wool from the air fibers of the animals. So first step is called shearing. So this process of removing fleece from the body of sheep only we call it as shearing. So the person who remove the fleece of sheep we call it as shearer. The shearing is done by clippers or pair of scissors. Machine are also used for shearing. Usually this shearing process is done once in a year during spring season. The next process is scoring. That is step 2. So after shearing, the wool has to be washed with hot water, detergent, and an alkali, that is by chemical treatment to remove any grease, dirt, or any dirt which is present, and then it is dried. So, this process only is called scoring. It can be done by scoring by manual scoring or by scoring machines. Nowadays, machines are also used for scoring the fleece in the industry. So scoring is nothing but the removing the dirt and the grease. The third step is sorting. So how sorting done? So scoring will be followed by sorting. Sorting is the process of separating the woolen fibers, that is hairs of different textures, soft like that. So that we call it as sorting. So it is the process of separating the hair of the sheep according to their textures. Step is step 4, removing of burrs. So the meaning of burr is small fluffy coat. That fibers only we call it as burrs. So the small fluffy fibers are then picked out from air. So this fluffy fibers we can able to see, that is called burrs. So these burrs are also seen in sweaters. So the fibers are again scored and dried. So the next step is step 5, coloring of the wool. So in this process, the fibers are dyed in different colors. The fibers are dyed in different colors. Next final process is step 6, rolling of wool. So this is the final processing. The fibers are then straightened, combed and rolled into yarn. So now the woolen yarn is ready. So there is yarn or wool to form the balls of wool for knitting or weaving woolen clothes, different woolen clothes. So the next animal fiber we have going to study is silk. Just see the overall flowchart of process of obtaining wool. The first step is shearing, and then scoring, and then it's getting scotted, and then it is made into the ball of yarn, woolen. So the persons who are working in woolen industry, they may get a disease. That disease only we call it as occupational hazard. So what do you mean by this occupational hazard? So industry disease usually which is associated with wool industry. So that we call it as anthrax. The name of the disease is anthrax, and it is caused by a bacterium called bacillus. bacillus. So this disease is commonly called as sorter's disease because it is an occupational hazard associated with the production of wool. So anthrax is a disease of cattle like sheep, goat, etc. So it mainly affects the workers who are involved in this sorting diseases. So it occurs as a lung, intestinal and skin infection. So it's commonly called occupational hazard. So the next what we are going to see is about silk. So we all studied about the silk is the queen of fibers. The silk is obtained from silkworm. If you see the finest silk, it comes from a silkworm, a type of silkworm produced by Bombyx mori moth. That is the name of the silk. We have already studied about the characteristics of silk, that it is shiny, strong, lustreless, etc. So what is the process of sericulture? That also we have studied that the rearing and the management of silkworm for obtaining the silk, that we call it as sericulture. So this is the silk moth, and this one you can see that is cocoon. From this cocoon only we are getting the silk fiber. So sericulture, the process, the breeding and the raising of silkworms in order to obtain the silk from them. So in the next video, we will study in detail about the history of silk and the life cycle of silkworm and the process of obtaining the silk fibers from silk moth. So before that, let's see some common names, types of the silkworm, the scientific name, the family and the main host. Host is nothing but the name of the moth. For example, mulberry silkworm, Bombyx mori. So this is the common silkworm. It is belongs to the Bombycidae family and main host is mulberry. An Aries silkworm, that is domesticated one. It belongs to the scientific name Flysamia ricini. Family is Saturnidae. Main host is castor. Indian Tassar silkworm, wild, Anthraea mylitta. The family is Saturnidae and the main host is Terminalia. And Mocha silkworm, Anthraea asama, belongs to family Saturnidae and main host is Som. Miscellaneous Bombicina. So in the next part 3 video, we will study in detail about the process, life cycle of silk. Thank you, children.